Hi, and welcome to the Talk and Tango podcast, where conversation sways to the rhythm of ideas. Today, we'll be talking about a very controversial topic. Oh, I forgot to mention, my name is Chinwe, and I'll be co hosting with
This is Mr. Lens.
Mr. Lent.
But it didn't barrister to your name.
Please leave barrister. My name is Chinwe. Please.
Barrister.
Everybody.
Barrister.
My,
Barrister.
my name is Chinwe.
Barrister Chinwe.
All right, so let's move ahead.
Barrister Chinwe. Accept it.
Okay, accept it. I'm a
Thank
lawyer.
you.
Accept it. No wahala. All right. So we have a topic. Okay, this one is not controversial. I know the last episode we talked about a controversial and challenging topic. So now this one is not controversial. This one is.
Not challenge neither.
Is it challenging?
Is-
It's neither
Some-
challenging nor controversial.
Some people it's challenging.
Okay, challenging.
To
Okay,
people like you.
to people like me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, the topic is New Year resolution, right? Is it worth it? I don't know why he said it's challenging, because
To you it's challenging.
it depends. Do you know if I make resolutions? Do you know
You
if
make and you feel at them.
you are imposing that on me? I put it to you that you can't even impose that on me. Okay. So we have a fine gentleman. The reason I say he's fine is because I like his smile. So yeah, his
So,
name is
if you frown, it's ugly.
please. I don't know what he does when he's frowning. What I can see now is what I am saying. Please, we have Mr. Prince Orakwa, who is a brand strategist and a software developer. Me, I like software developers because my brother is a developer too.
And that money.
You have more? Are you telling me?
That
So
money.
you're welcome. So I don't mind also.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being with you guys again.
All right, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
So today we're discussing New Year resolution. We know that a lot of persons have, at the beginning of the year, they have their resolutions. Oh, I want to do this before the end of the year. Once 2020, now we're approaching 2025, yeah? So once 2025 is done, I must have done this. They have, do they call it bucket list now? Or they call it a list, to-do list or something, I don't know. But for whatever name it is, some persons have different names for it, or different people have different names for whatever it is. But they're all resolutions. Now, is it okay to have a resolution to even start with?
Okay. So, without being too cumbersome around it, I think it's okay to have a resolution,
Okay.
right? It doesn't matter when it comes up, middle of the year, beginning of the year, end of the year. But then, at some point, there's just a need for you to make up your mind about something.
Mhm.
There's also a need for you to add time to what it is you're making your mind about.
Mhm.
There's also need for you to say how you would achieve what you're making up your mind about to do. So I think that life is actually lived on resolutions. It's just that sometimes we make ceremonies out of them.
Yeah.
But probably because we at that point tend to like compile a lot of things
Yeah.
and then we'll not make a ceremony out of it. But if I decide now that I want to get to somewhere tomorrow, I've resoluted within me, I've made a resolve that
Yeah.
I will do this. Okay? So
So, in a nutshell, what does New Year resolution mean to you?
I don't know, but simplified enough, I think it will mean that some people pack a lot of things
Give
they
them.
think they have the right to have postponed it until a certain time of the life that they want to now do. Because I feel it's just about people. So, in a sense, for so many people who do this ritual, as I just call them, fruitless as it may be, most times too, people who tend to buy into the culture, constantly saying they have this new year, they have this new year, that are just possibly people who have been sold out to the whole procrastination lifestyle. Okay, so you feel like I can't do this until
Until I have
a
a
certain
resolution.
time
Mhm.
of the year, a certain time of the calendar.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to suspend this thing until when it's now New Year, and I start doing this, I start doing that. Um, so yeah, I think that's basically what New Year resolution is about. People postponing things that they want to do for a certain kind of time that they want to start doing.
So when it comes to New Year resolution, do you think it's more of a psychological thing than more of a traditional practice?
Okay, so you lost me there at the point of traditional practice.
You know,
But
a lot
I think
of people, but to them it's more like a norm. You've seen
it's
it
what
as a
must come
ritual.
with a new year. Yeah?
Yes, that this every
Okay.
new year there must be a new year resolution. So that's why I call it a traditional
More like a
practice.
ritual
Yeah, it's more
practice,
like
yeah?
a ritual. So, but do you
Okay,
believe
so
it's more of psychological to traditional practice?
uh, okay, so I think that there's no a cast in the stone, yeah? It's either this or that. So probably for some people, they're actually I'm making an honest attempt to probably turn a new leaf or probably achieve some things new. Um, for some other persons too, it could be maybe just ritualistic. That some things
Yeah.
have to be put in shape for the year. Or let's try and put up something as a resolution towards that effect. So there's no one way to it. It could be many things to many persons. Okay, for some other persons, it could be an honest, like I said, an honest desire to chase a new path, to achieve a new thing. For some people, they want to pivot into a new career. They just say that by the time it's so year or whatever, I'm going to do this. For some persons, also, it's just that all they know all their life is that there should be a list of something I can achieve.
Yeah.
Whether it is followed through or not, they just put up something. So it can be psychological, it can be ritualistic, it can be tradition, whichever way.
Okay, okay. So do you have any idea of what a New Year resolution should look like? What do you feel it should look like?
Okay, what I think you should ask will probably be what should the resolution look like?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter, like I keep mentioning, it doesn't matter when it comes. First quarter, second quarter, last quarter, no quarter. It doesn't matter.
So that means you don't believe in New Year resolutions then,
I believe in resolution.
or not New Year resolutions.
It doesn't matter when it comes. If the resolution comes for the new year, but I don't think that. So I believe, that you should have a plan for the year given. Okay, but the whole fuse about my new
Unnecessary
resolution,
pressures.
and all the ritualistic kind of thing that's around it is what I feel makes it most times unyielding. Okay, because people put a lot of foods around it, and then the real actions are missing
Yeah.
when the chips are really down. Okay, because I think what's a resolution eventually? Yeah, like you should have a strong desire to achieve something for a particular purpose. Okay, so if your mind is made up, there's no stopping a man whose mind is made up. That's how you even know, is he actually a resolution? There's some kind of piece of things written down that probably were controlled by pressure, peer pressure, controlled by societal views, maybe controlled by these days social media influencers, controlled by all kind of things apart from the innate desire to really want something for a unique cause or purpose. So
Okay.
if it's about the real, in the real sense of what resolution is, that I want to do this because of this and that, then you have a strong why. That strong why is what makes the resolution unstoppable most times. And then I like to look at the whole concept of revolution from a programmer's view. Like the language you use
Yeah.
while trying to program a resolution determines how far it becomes successful or not. Okay? So I feel that the mind is just an app that you can condition to behave, react, or become a certain kind of thing, or in a certain kind of way.
So you just have to make up your mind to want to do this, not necessarily because it's a resolution or not. We shouldn't call it New Year resolution. We shouldn't give it that name.
So I said, if it's something you want to pursue for the year,
Yes.
good. But I think resolution is a practice everybody should learn how to take.
Yeah.
When to now do it.
Do it. Yeah. It
Your choice.
It shouldn't
You want
be
to make
limited
it
to
New Year?
New
Why I
Year.
say that you prefer when it's more like a small continuous goal than when it's
The
tagged
resolution
that-
can be made in August.
Yeah, that's
can
what
be
I'm
made
saying.
in September.
Yeah. All
Yes,
I'm saying
it
is
must not be some tagged that new year. It must not come at the beginning of the year. It should be more like a continuous.
So I think the culture should be about learning how to make up your mind about things.
Okay.
It doesn't matter when you have done it. Whether you now say, okay, I want to make up my mind to do this thing from the first of or 2025, or it doesn't matter. Just learn the act of making up your mind to do something and stay on it until it is done. So that's what is now missing, because now a lot of people do it without the core. It's not because they really want to do this thing. It's just because there's 2025 coming, so let me write a list.
Okay.
Meanwhile, they've not learned the act of decision making. You've not learned the act of purpose. Those things are lacking. So you have a list, but nothing to drive the list. That's why most times you see that the year has ended. They don't even remember what they wrote, where they dropped it.
Yes.
Okay.
But then next day again, there's a ritual
Right,
around it.
right.
Is another 2020 something.
But then personally, I think I like the whole idea of New Year resolution, because for me, I think it sets the tone for the year somehow.
Okay.
In some way, you have something in your head that, okay, I want to do this. In as much as, yes, a lot of persons don't have the discipline to be able to achieve that by the end of the year. I think people give themselves unrealistic expectations, or not expectations now, unrealistic goals. Do you understand? If I'm setting a New Year resolution and I say, okay, from January, I have for the next 3 months, I want to do so and so. If I am disciplined enough to be able to do this, I will get it. Do you get? Now, I know that statistics show that about 80% of persons who set New Year resolutions fail at it by the next month. So give or take by February.
So it's back to what I was trying to say. Yeah, I think what we should be encouraging is not about it. Okay, let me say for instance, let's say by November, you really have this strong intuition to do this thing that you want to do. That could run you for another 6 months. Yeah, and you decide that, okay, in the next 6 months I'm going to lock down for this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're on it. Yeah, let's say for instance, you want to make a career, you want to pivot a career. Yeah, you want to take a new path, and then you have to do probably a 6 months course to prepare you, and you have to completely lock down for it. And remember, it's November. I now have to do another New Year resolution. Is it to upturn what you already have going? So I think the sense of time is actually illusionary. Yeah, because there's a calendar that's going to turn over. People now feel like it's a whole new, a fresh start. There's no fresh start.
New year, new you.
There's no new nothing. There's no new nothing. I think that's why I said what I believe is that it's a culture. Yes, should you have things you want to achieve? Yes, you should. Okay? But should you be calendar bound in the sense of new year, new whatever? I personally would not encourage young people to have that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Just have something. I would prefer you make like a long-term plan. Yeah?
Okay.
What do I really want to do in the next 5 years? And then how do I do these things that I want to do? Because what that New Year resolution often means sometimes for some people who are locked up in that ritual is that they feel like whatever it is that's happening this year has a relationship with what I want to do next year.
Yeah.
So that's where the New Year, New Me concept comes. It's like it has to be entirely new things that you need to now do.
Okay.
Do you
So
get?
can I ask, how does one, because definitely we have listeners, how does one set realistic goals? Okay, you're a software developer. Let's say you want to do something, you want to work on a project. How do you set these goals for yourself such that at the end of the day you tell yourself, oh, okay, I did this and I've been able to actualize it? Like, give us practical things.
Okay, so if I take it from the software view,
Go ahead.
which might not be very beneficial to the general discourse, but I think that the first thing is what? It's usually the what. What do you want to build? What's the client asking for?
Yeah.
Or what is this idea you want to bring to life? Okay, you conceptualize. So it goes back to when we put it at par with resolution. Most importantly, as it has to do with resolution, what do you want to do and why? That sense of purpose is what keeps you on track. Because every time you want to stop, you remember why. I could be on a project and I'm like, I can open the laptop. I've been working for like how long, but I can't remember a single line of code anymore. I'll shut down. I won't walk away from
Yeah.
the project.
Projects, yeah.
I could take a little break I could have been worn out.
Yeah.
I could have been, there's a certain time we use for it, whatever, but I could have blacked out. But there is a why that made me to start, and that's probably a pay,
Yeah.
an idea, a business, or something. So that why brings me back.
Back. Yeah.
I could be temporarily tired, but because there's a strong why, I get back to it. So, but why people fizz out from the whole resolution thing is because there's no strong why. So when they experience that little slag,
The blackouts.
they go and they don't come back to it because
Yeah.
nothing strong is actually behind
Okay.
driving the real idea that they put up the want to achieve.
So let's talk about a personal experience. Let's
Okay.
come to personal experience. So personally, what is the most meaningful resolution that you've ever made?
Pivoting to tech. Pivoting to tech. It was such a crazy thing
Okay.
to do at the time that I did it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because so I needed to get locked out for like 8 months to pick up the skills.
Okay.
And when I mean locked out, I mean like completely locked out because the training wouldn't give me time and space for nothing, including generating income from the
Yeah.
things I usually do before then. And then I have these long 8 months to be off the grid
Okay, great. Yeah.
to do this thing. So
Yeah.
it was a huge, major resolution. And then it happened on a November like this.
Coincidentally.
So it happened on a November like this. I'm like, you know what? I think I should actually do this because of this, and that. Okay, so I've been around the industry for a little while. And then I felt, okay, maybe I should even do the mainstream side of the whole thing. And so, yeah, pivoting to tech is something, pivoting to mainstream tech, like doing understanding the whole thing and doing a core business around it is mine. I mean, like, in the most recent,
Okay.
not like, of course, choosing my partner was one of the most crazy things. But
Greatest
then-
resolution.
yeah, of course it is. But aside that, I think one of the most difficult things I've done is actually decide to change my career to pivot into tech. It was hard. It was hard because you know how you feel like you have some like savings, like
Yeah.
for your mind, you don't really say.
You're settled for a while.
You have a family,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So you're like, okay, so even if we run on this and that,
Yeah.
you like, in your mind you have an average monthly
Yeah,
expense. You
yeah.
feel like, okay, and then eventualities and eventualities, and you are still at that place where you need to do this because there's a strong why.
Yeah.
The strong why is there's an economy there that I want to cash into. There's this, I want to actually be able to teach my boys tech myself. Like I want them to,
Yeah.
so all of those put together couldn't put me out of the journey, even when it became so difficult a thing to do.
Okay.
You get? So a couple of friends call and say, boy, how you dey do this thing? We know they see you for here, we know they see you for here, we know they I say, now this is what my life is all about. You get?
Okay.
So I think in the recent times, pivoting to tech is the greatest resolution I've had to make.
Okay.
I'm
So
glad I did.
there's something I saw on the internet. I think people were having some conversations as to, oh, is it resolution or vision boards? Now, can we?
Yes. It's
Vision boards,
I see
yeah?
Vision boards.
So some persons will say, no, I just have a vision, but I have a vision for this year, and this is my vision. I know vision to be, if I want to do something now, or let's say I want to create a business, start a business, I have a vision for that business. So the vision is for a long term. Do you get? Some persons will say, no, we create vision boards every year.
For the year.
Okay,
So what's the difference between the vision board and this resolution, this list?
so I think it's the whole manifest concept.
Okay.
You know how it's I think what is fueling the whole vision board thing
Yeah.
is just the fact that there's something about image that the more you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
because oftentimes when it's written, you may not always go back to read them
Yeah.
as often as you would always glance at them
Mm-hmm.
in the name of a board.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, so the idea is that these things that I want to do, can I have a pictorial representations for them.
Picture or no picture, if you don't take any action, it's still useless.
No, I'm coming. We are talking about it's an aid
Yeah, it helps.
to consistency for those who practice it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So for me, I already know, and I have it in crystal clear pictures of a couple of things I want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So sometimes they change, they modify. Yeah, sometimes you find out that you are not you have outgrown
This particular,
You
What-
see,
what-
yeah, what is there?
yes.
even before you achieve it, you have outgrown it.
Yeah.
So you kind of like no. You expand it. Do you get? So, but I think for those who take up the practice, for those it works for, there's nothing bad about having a picture of, maybe you want to have a home, have a picture of the kind of home that you really want. Maybe it reminds you, wake up and look at it, it reminds you of the fact that I actually wanted this. Like, or this is what I really desire to have. And maybe it's a car, maybe whatever it is, maybe it's anything.
Best has to make it more like a driving force.
Yeah, maybe put it, because for those who practice the manifest kind of thing, it has to just be in a place where you wake up and see. Like, you must have to see it, even if you're going through tough moments. As you're waking up and then you're looking at it like, this is the goal. I have to rejig myself. I have to keep up to track. I have to, keep the fire going. So yeah, resolution is one thing, vision board is another thing. But then they can both be the same thing, depending on who is doing what. Your resolution can be translated to a vision board, and your vision board can be your resolution.
Resolution,
What is the resolution? I say, I want to achieve this thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying about programming language. If you say that I will try and if you say I must,
Yeah.
your mind interprets these things separately.
Okay.
That's not true.
If I say I'll try and be there tomorrow, and I must be there tomorrow, or I will be there tomorrow, these are different languages that the mind will react to in different ways, because our mind is built to actually protect us in the most possible way we can, and then support us in the most possible way it can. So when you say I'll try, your mind will provide for you safety nets on how you can actually try and not injure yourself. Just try.
I feel when you start using that word, I will try, it's no longer a resolution. What
Exactly.
makes it a resolution is the ability for it to be firm. Resolution is firm for me.
I think anybody that tries to make a resolution or even tries to draft out something is willing to do it.
That's the
The only thing missing most of the time,
firmness.
one, discipline. Two, other challenges that can just come out, surface from nowhere that you didn't even expect to happen. So
what
now,
next to resolution?
where resolution fails, how do you handle it? Because sometimes at the end of the year, some persons look at their papers and not even one thing.
Can I be diplomatic now? Yes, for me, I believe resolution and goals are two different things. You can have goals for the year. Okay, I want to do this. I want to do this. That's my personal opinion. What makes it a resolution is your firmness. You've had these goals. Okay, right? I want to do this by January. This I wish to do this by February. All these things are goals you've outlined. But when you are firm towards it, by January I am doing this. By February I'm doing this. By March this should be done by March, so that this can be done by October. You are putting time. You are
You're
being
just
firm.
resolving to achieve a goal.
It's not resolving.
So yeah,
It's not resolving.
if you have a resolution, you're still going to go through the goal route.
Yes.
Yeah, you're still going to have the house. This is what I want to achieve. How do I get to this place? So I must do this. I must do that. I must do this to be able to do this.
Okay.
Do you get? What is this vision? The vision is that by the end of the year, I want to probably enroll in masters, for instance. If it's someone who is in the academy, he said, I want to do my master. I want to start my masters by 2025. And then all the questions will now be, which school? Yeah? What requirements? What's the financial commitment that will be needed? How do I save up for it? What do I need to adjust in my expense? Do I already have enough savings to cover for it? How do I work up more to ensure that I'm able to do this? You set up goals. Okay, I need to be putting out so amount of money extra, or I need to shut down my savings to start this, or you have to now put out the short, that's what we say, we have short-term goals and long-term goals. How do I now accumulate these little things into that bigger picture of doing this thing? Yeah, I want to do masters. How do I put up small steps to ensure that I eventually pick up a master's form, get myself enrolled, and then get on it? Do you understand? Yeah, so it goes back to those little goals. Are they interconnected for the same purpose or not? Yeah? Are they interconnected to the same purpose or not? I don't know. You know these things, grammar makes it look like they are just...
Exactly. I think it's just grammar because I don't know, it's my personal opinion. I don't think there's a difference between a resolution and a goal. Like, if I'm resolving to do this, definitely if I'm achieving that thing, it's a goal already. It's something I'm doing. Do you get? But then I'm just thinking that, yeah, okay, now for the benefit of persons watching, there are some persons who, okay, they've been able to write out things, but they've not been able to achieve it. Now, do you know that someone can actually slide into depression because they've not been able to achieve that goal? Because they've written something and maybe their friends, oh, this person is saying, yes, I did this, I did that, I did this. One time I was asked by somebody, oh, have you been able to achieve all that you set out? I said, I didn't set out anything. I just said, God, it's me and you this year. Help me. However you choose to do it. I can tell you that this year has by far been my best year. Better than the years that I even set the goals and the whatever. Do you get? Now, yes. Now that's because I had gotten to a point where I told myself, I'm not doing any resolution or anything again. If I want to start something, I decide, and then I start, and then okay, I give myself a time to achieve it, and that's it. There are some persons that have not gotten to that point. How do you help them?
So
how do they even help themselves? I know about groups, like, you know, this thing where they say
support groups.
So have an accountability partner. How do they get help?
So first is what I would prescribe is not about resolution. It's about habits.
Good.
It's about habits, not about resolution. It's about because why it failed most times is simply for lack of consistency, as you said, and then the discipline to stay, the staying power. How do you remain focused regardless of all the distractions that will come?
Yeah.
How do you say, I want to do this thing, and then other offers are dangling in your face and you're like, you know what, this is actually
what I want
to do. Because what I do tell people is, at the time you were thinking about doing this thing, you have chosen to do it because it was the best of things you thought you could do. That is why you should stay on it. Because every other thing that comes are trying to take you away from that thing. You had a thorough conversation with yourself and felt like, you know what, I want to do this.
Yeah.
At that time, many of these other things that would start flying as distractions were not existent in your possibilities. That's why you didn't consider them. And if you did, probably you also chose what you have decided to do above them. So at what point did they become so interesting that they are sufficient enough to dissuade you from the decision you made after a thorough thought? Okay. So it's about building the habit. How do you learn to be consistent? It starts with the little things. And some people do complain that they don't think they have the discipline
to do it,
to be consistent. I say it's a lie. As long as you can wake up every morning and brush your teeth.
It's a thing of the mind.
As long as you wake up every morning and then you brush your teeth. Like, you don't even forget on one day. It's like, you know what, I didn't remember to. So, but somehow you've fed your mind a certain kind of truth that, you know what, I don't have a staying power. You communicated to your mind what is helping you play out, what is helping you manifest. So if you also tell your mind, if I can actually commit to brushing my teeth, is what I use when I tell people that you can build a habit of consistency. I just say, if you can tell yourself that I actually remember
To brush.
to brush. Why can't I remember to do this other thing repeatedly? Why can't I remember to show up for myself? Why can't I remember to keep to this thing? It's not because you cannot, because there are some things you do on a repeat every other day. So why are you now failing yourself on repeat? You repeatedly check your inboxes. You repeatedly check your social medias. So you have a repetition power. But where you're now, it's not selective. Where you're now directing it to is dependent on what you've told yourself you're capable of doing. Because these other ones are more like a reflex.
Yeah.
So it's about consciously telling yourself that I have the power to. I have the power to. And then you find out that you can do all things. So I think what people should do is to learn. Learn how to build habits, consistency, the discipline to stay. Avoid distractions. And then, above other things too, learn to be flexible.
Okay.
Yes.
Flexibility.
Yes, because the goal might remain static, but the how
Okay, yes.
could change.
Yes. Okay, if it's flexibility with the how, I can understand.
With the how. Okay, because you could have a particular, for most times also, when you're thinking about this thing that you want to do, there's always this how that is predominant in your mind. I'm going to do like that. Meanwhile, a lot of factors are going to come to challenge that how. So instead of now forfeiting the what because of the how, why don't you change the how?
Just how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think some persons don't even know what to add like they don't even know what the resolution looks like. So let's even start from the basics. Now you know what the resolution looks like. I'm sure my co-host knows what the resolution. You're not into resolutions, okay? But some persons don't even know what a resolution looks like or how they can even draft it. Not like drafting. I don't want to use the word draft, but then I'm just saying all this to say that what kind of resolutions can one make? Now, if we're talking like this, it looks as if we're just dwelling on ourselves, what we want to do, what we want to do, what we want to do. What about the things, because we're Christians, what about things we should do for others? Shouldn't these things be included in our resolutions?
Okay, so
do you think we should what do they call? Is it no, it's not compartmentalized now. Do you think
again, I used to tell people, find yourself before you find others.
Okay.
Because the blind cannot lead the blind. Yes. The blind cannot lead the blind. You have to, I know there's a place for others, but you have to be before you can
carry other people
be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if you're not in a place where you have found yourself, I agree to the fact that there's some school of thought that initiates the idea that you find yourself in helping others. And there's a thing like that. But that is relatively true in the sense that you're finding you're doing you.
If your calling is in that,
you're actually doing you. You found yourself, but you don't discover.
Okay, I think I need to narrow this my question, because in as much as yes, we're finding ourselves. This you said helping. You find yourself in helping others. You find yourself before you start helping others. Now, let me give a practical example. I have a resolution personally.
Okay.
Now, faith-based, I have resolved that, I will pray so and so time. I will do this. Career-wise, I have resolved that I will do this. Charity-wise, I have resolved that I will do this. Now, some persons make resolves for just personal or their careers. They don't know what it's like to make resolves for so many other things.
Okay, I get your point. So we're back to the point where you're saying if resolution is a thing that must be, how should it go?
How
Yeah?
should it go? Yeah.
Should it be departmentalized? Yeah. Should it affect every area of your life, or some
Mhm.
areas should run on a free
On
tone,
the free tone.
while some other areas are structured? Okay, so I think so maybe again the word resolution is making it look like we're talking everyday life to start with. Okay, we're talking everyday lives. If you say, okay, I want to be able to pray like this new year,
Yeah.
Yes.
let's assume you don't be praying, for instance. Let's assume that say I want to start praying 10 times a day, 20 times, whatever, on your faith side of things, and I want to maybe start attending church if you're not one that goes to one.
Okay.
And then you now say all of those things in your faith-based kind of life and make other decisions around. So now there's no blueprint. For someone, it could be like, I want to reduce the number of hours I spend in prayer. I think this is about doing, for instance.
Yeah.
There could be someone that's the language he should be speaking to themselves. That, you know what? I think I should spend less. Yeah, reduce the amount of time I spend in praying and invest part of them in thinking.
Okay.
For some other persons too, it could be like, I think I rely so much on my human power. Maybe I need to do more reliance on divine. Okay? Maybe I should pray more. Maybe I should trust more on God. Maybe I should. So, then you must not also make any resolution.
Okay.
Yes.
Eventually,
Yeah.
in your faith-based life, whatever. So there's really no format to this thing. To now say, okay, you know what, you must resolve in your relationship. You may not pretty much want to be in the coming year. You may not be ready for nothing. So if there's a format to now say you have to decide for religion, your faith, decide for your academics, decide for your business, decide for relationship, decide for your finance, decide for whatever. And someone is looking at that format is like, why am I doing this myself?
So that means resolution is more personal.
Of
The
course,
format,
Definitely.
the format is more personal.
There's no format.
Yeah. Each
All
format
I'm trying to
is
say,
personal.
there's no format.
Yes.
There's no format.
That's
There's no
what
format, but it depends. If you give yourself a format,
No,
so it depends on what works.
works for you.
Exactly.
The format that works for me will not be what works for you. You may have academics in your format, and me, I don't need academics for anything.
Yeah.
I may have relationship there, and you don't need relationship.
It may
for
be
anything.
personal development that
Yes.
is your important. Not
So
being-
that's what it's trying to say. Probably there is no basic format, there's no rules for it. What we just need is that what works for you.
Okay.
So I also think the way the mind is wired, if you actually relate with yourself properly,
Yes.
because one thing that I know people lack is self-relationship.
Yes.
A lot of people don't relate to themselves.
Themselves.
What's their
They are busy relating with every other person
Except.
except with themselves. But if you have a core relationship with yourself, oftentimes when you're drawing up these things, it literally touches every aspect of what makes you who.
Yes.
Yeah, because it is you having a meeting with yourself that what should we do?
Yes.
What do we need to do?
What did you do wrong in the past? What can be
Yeah, what can we do better? What should we reduce? What should we increase? What should we try anew? What should we stop entirely? So if you relate with yourself properly, you would find out what you should departmentalize.
Okay.
We will find out what format we should adopt.
Adopt. Okay.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Alright.
There's nothing wrong if you now say you want to actually write them out
Them
and
into
start
folder.
filling them up. In this
Put them
college
in
now.
folders and say this one is
Uh-huh.
The bed is food that
And this
Uh-huh.
one is
relationship.
So
for
there's
that.
nothing wrong
The
with
bed
that.
is food that
But if you
academics.
relate with yourself,
Yeah.
you'll find out subconsciously the things you would still write out will cover every space of your life.
So how does one deal with the guilt? Like if I don't meet up, some persons I don't know, they just feel somehow. How do you deal with it so that you help yourself for the next year?
So then again, yeah, it's not that serious.
For some persons, it's serious.
To
So
start with, no, I know. I'm just saying it's not serious to start with.
Mhm.
Okay. What I think is self-comparison. Oftentimes, what makes people start feeling that way is when they now have to place themselves side by side with other persons. So what happens, what is important is if you do a self-audit, am I better this year than I was last year? Which usually you will be if you make just a little bit effort.
Yes.
It may not be the whole of the things you wanted to do, yeah? So the appraisal should be about, am I better off this year than last year?
Like you
I mean, like to
said,
help,
self-appraisal.
yes, to help the mental balance. Instead of, did I tick everything on the box? It should be like, am I a better person this year?
Exactly.
Did I do better for myself this year? And frankly speaking, some years could be worse than the previous.
Actually.
But then again, failure is not bad.
Yeah.
Failure.
It's just that in our culture, we've been taught that
Once you
failure,
fail,
there's a subconscious, unwritten script that makes us feel that
That if you fail, it's bad.
once you fail, something terrible has happened. But that's not true.
It came from our parents.
It could be that that's,
is it
yeah, of course,
experience?
it's, no, generational handout.
It came
was-
from them. They gave it to us.
It was
You're
passed down
passing
and
it.
passed down.
Now we'll not pass it.
Okay.
You know, it could just be that it's a spring back year. Yeah, it's a spring back year for the real launch
Exactly.
that would happen. So instead of looking at it like, I didn't. Maybe last year I was able to save 1,000 naira. This year I didn't save nada. Why don't you now look at yourself like, how do I now ensure that I gather my gains
And move on.
for the best of the coming year? Or what did I even do that led me to this point?
Yeah.
Have a review. Re-strategize based on the things you've discovered. You know, so it's not something to kill yourself about. That's what I said, it's not serious. There are going to be many more years. There's going to be another year, another new year, another new year. So if you're even on the New Year calendar, you're at luck.
Yeah.
Because there will always be another New Year. No,
Yeah.
I'm very serious.
Yeah, definitely.
If your resolution culture,
Comes every year.
yeah, if
That's
the
not
ritual
January.
is about yearly,
January.
you don't know what God has done for you, because you're always going to have another.
You need to start afresh.
Yes, so fresh. So my message would be that there's no point to beat yourself about that the year is almost ending, and I get the point that some people are already torturing themselves. Some people are feeling like,
This is-
what kind of year is this?
What have
This
I
and
done?
that, and that's what you are alive.
Okay, I want to come back to something you said. You said think about yourself first. Do you get before you can do to others? Now, I think because this is Christ-centered.
Mm.
Yes, this is Christ-centered.
Is it?
Yes, it is. We can't talk about all these things without mentioning God. Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing I don't want to.
You don't want to.
Yes.
Okay, that's all up to you. But I'm talking about God.
Then I'm posing.
So go ahead.
I'm not imposing it.
It's
on
our
you.
opinion.
It's my opinion.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So how do you set resolutions without? Do you just set resolutions based on self? What about God? Where's the place of God? How do you discover God's purpose in that resolution you are making?
I don't know
Okay.
if they just write so help me God.
So you said just be so big, and God's already part of it.
Because for the
Okay,
fact,
so-
help me God.
So my concept about faith, religion, supreme
Spiritual.
divinity, spirituality, and all of those is interesting.
I'd like to hear it.
So first is, I like to feel that if you're already on the divide of, you have Christ, okay? So why are we not thinking about where is God in your resolution? Because I mean, like, this is God making a decision to start with. That's my concept. Okay? So I don't need, there's no it's not, I feel that it's not an external thing.
Okay.
As of the point I'm thinking, now God they think join.
Because I used to hear some preachers say, "Oh, I did not do anything. I didn't take any step until I sought God, and then God told me His plan for me for the year.
I just don't want to go that place.
So
Let's not
again,
go that
like I
route.
said,
No, some persons see.
no, this is a belief for a lot of persons that
Exactly.
there's a
They
separate,
can't do nothing
there's a separate
without
entity,
The truth is that everybody have their own.
that the God nature is a separate entity from. But the first truth is that when we say God is omnipresent, what it simply means,
Even when you're making that decision,
no, beyond that, what it simply means is that because there are so many, we are in His image, we're everywhere, so God is everywhere.
the point where you
I
thought-
beg to differ because there's a portion of the Bible that says, "I can do all things, yes, through Christ who strengthens me." I'm not doing it by my own
Okay,
strength.
so hold on. Let's start.
So
again.
if we're saying we want to set our personal goals by ourselves, and
Let's start
then
again.
okay, God is everywhere.
Okay, let's
God
start
is
So
again.
doing
now,
it for
No,
us.
so
hold
now
on.
you agree at the point where I say she had to help me God at the end.
No, hold on. Let's start again. Where is Christ?
He lives in us.
Good. So why are you separating you from you?
Why do you pray?
You don't get the point. I pray to communicate personally. Personally, I pray to communicate.
Okay.
The same reason I soliloquize sometimes to myself alone. The same reason I think. Yeah, communicate. It doesn't matter if it is vocal or not.
What are you communicating?
So to surprise you, I'm not part of those that communicate needs
Okay.
because I've been given all that pertain to life and
Godliness.
godliness. I choose to remember that. So what I communicate, so the way I describe how I see God and what I feel it should be, it's just that I'm a father of two. And I know how I relate to it. I feel the concept of God gets clearer when we become parents. So these children of mine, they don't have to do anything extra for me to pay their fees, buy their food, do their clothing, do their stuffs. They don't have to do anything extra. In fact, in the midst of the annoying, I am still the father.
Okay.
Those basic, that's the concept. God has said, because he's our father, he has already given all that pertains to. However, maybe as they grow, one of them may be more keen in trying to, or both of them may be more keen in trying to converse more with me. Okay? So they understand better that even when I'm silent, they could say, in Igbo, they say, it's communication driven.
Okay.
You've become so close to your parents that you now know. The reason I communicate is to know more of what my father thinks and feels, more than what I want him to give me. That's how I see it.
Okay.
That's how I see it. So I see that it's not need driven because he already knows. Say your heavenly father knows that you need these things.
That you're communicating to God does not mean that you're telling him your needs. Now, see, there's
No, you
this
asked
thing
me
where-
why I communicate.
Okay, yeah.
I said I communicate to build relationship, not for requests.
Okay.
I communicate so I understand him, but I feel at that point is the only point really that
So that means you don't necessarily need the God factor, the spiritual factor, when it's making resolutions.
no, I said I am the God factor. I carry the God factor. There's no external to it. As we are talking now, God is talking. As I'm talking to you now, you don't get. I don't need to pray for God to start talking through me. He lives. I am Him. He is me.
That sounds like blasphemy.
That doesn't. I don't know how that sounds to
I
me.
understand where I'm
But
coming from.
then-
We are.
but
Hold on a
sounds-
second. Hold on a second. So, Jesus help me.
No, I think we should leave.
Now
Let-
again, Christ is in
I
you.
think we should leave.
Hold on. So the Christ in you is awakened at some point. So now you know what? He's on suspension now, yeah? Christ is in me, but no, he's not. I have to now pray him into action.
There's a part of the Bible that says.
No, I'm asking, is it that I have to pray him into action?
I'm
separately?
not saying
So I
pray him
didn't
into.
want to go here.
I'm
in
not
the
saying
first
no.
place.
At the end of the day, the only thing I'm trying to get to,
Yes.
the only point I'm trying to make is, I don't think we should make resolutions without seeking
Without seeking God.
God.
Okay, that's your
Because-
personal opinion.
Okay, how do you seek God?
How do I seek God? By praying, by communicating with Him. Now, when I seek Him, now you said you don't go to Him for needs. So in my head, I'm asking myself, what do you go to Him for? Now, even me, I don't go to Him for needs in quotes. But then, when I want to do something, oh God, I need to start my master's. How do you think? What school? What? Give me ideas. I want to. Now, God will not come and say, my son, go to Ambrose Ali University. But then, do you understand? I can be scrolling to the internet, and I don't know if that thing has happened to you before. You just see something that aligns exactly, and you're like, wow, okay, this is actually what I was looking for. Things are just, aligning, but
I think
something happened.
I think it's a gross concept. Then again, there are some things that my baby boy gets home with his homework. I don't, like I repeat, I don't assist him in doing it.
Okay.
Reason is very simple. I believe that whatever he's given, he has been taught to have the capacity to do, and he's been doing it. God expects that. So what God made is himself in flesh. All right? So you are a full package. You're complete in him. You have everything he has given.
As complete as we are, he told us not to lean on our own understanding. Yes, as complete as we are.
So then again, if we go back to the scripture and ask, where was it written?
Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Where? I'm just asking.
And lean.
That's Old Testament. That's pre-glorification of Christ.
Okay,
There's
so
a
we're
couple
not
of
using
things.
the Old Testament.
Hold on a second. That's another thing that we are confusing this thing a whole lot.
I think we should actually.
No,
leave
hold
this
on. I'm
church.
coming. Hold on. I'm coming. It's not complicated. It's simple. Upon resurrection, the believer in Christ is a different person that was spoken to pre-appearance of Christ at the prophetic level of Christ. You're not the same. There are some scriptures that are not applicable to you because the creature you have become have not existed before. There's a version I don't know how to explain it. The version that you are is not the same version of the people they were talking to in Old Testament. Scrap it. Never. Can't. Won't. The version that is seated here is not that person that they were saying all of those things to.
Okay.
The version that is here now is the person that is carrying
The life of Christ.
I don't know how it is, how it's processing in your head. But I'm seeing it that every day I wake up and beg. Light of the world
God
is
is
around.
calling you. God is like this.
That light of the world is around. It's not, I'm not.
That's fine. That's fine. I think we're all entitled to our opinions, yeah?
Yes,
And
like I
that's
said, adding the God factor or not adding the God factor.
it's
a
totally
personal
up to
opinion.
you. Mhm.
It's just up to you. Some people have not grown.
What we're
Some
discussing
have
about
not
now,
grown to the level of. I'm trying to bring it back to our topic. I'm trying to
Yes,
bring it
yes.
back to- Some have not grown to the part where they see themselves as light of the world. They believe they need to go and get touchlight from God to shine to themselves.
I agree. So that's why I said it's
Some have
a
not got to
growth
that
thing.
part. Yes.
So, and I feel also that if I'm, as a parent, if I'm to understand the concept of God from parenthood, which is actually what the entirety of the thing is, I would feel there's some kind of things I feel like, let's assume that I've grown a bit older and my son wants to marry. Like, that who will I marry?
That's a silly question. I feel it's
For a
silly
full
question.
blown adult that should go there and find yourself, and you ask me, Daddy, who should I marry? I'm like, hello. And then there's some things I don't expect to come. Daddy, what should I wear and go out? Like, what's your own mind for? Like, I've taught you how to dress. I literally was washing your clothes, iron them for you, put them on you, do all of those for you, and then you're at this point, and I'm still the one going to sort your wardrobe. So I think that, like I said, it's a growth thing. God expects at some point that when we step in, God has stepped in. That's what I'm trying to
That time
explain.
you're chewing bone as a Christian
It shouldn't be. There's no. You don't separate yourself.
from God.
You don't say there is not.
There's no separation.
In
Anyway,
essence,
we're not talking
what he's saying is that whoever that is doing that resolution is God that's doing the resolution.
No, I'm saying
No.
if you have grown to that, for me, in my
That-
consciousness, for me, in my consciousness, the words that I speak, the actions that I take, the things that I do are ordered. I don't need to have any special arrangement for the ordering. I don't know if you understand me. I don't need to have any special arrangements for the ordering.
Special
Now
prayer.
I can now have a special arrangement for disobedience. Do you understand?
Okay.
I can consciously, because even at that time I am consciously disobedient. I know. Within me I know that I know that this one now is wrong. But I still decide to do it. But that on my autopilot mode, with who I've chosen to become in him. Anytime you see me, just know that deity is around.
The light of the world.
I don't need to pray
With
or
the lights
fast.
to show.
Okay.
I carry it. It's
Don't,
just like
don't
that.
the external lights. For you to
I don't
shine.
need to go and touch it somewhere or activate it.
Okay.
It's automated.
Mhm.
It's automated.
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright.
I'm answering your question.
All right, so we've had all of that on New Year resolution, whether it's worth it, whether it's not worth it, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, whether we should set those goals in January or we can set it at any time of the year.
We're going to December.
I think no December.
Can set goals in December.
Yes, you can actually
Yes.
set goals in December. It's part of what we discussed. But I think you can set your goals at any time. And I don't want anyone feeling pressured or putting themselves under any form of pressure because you did not achieve what you wanted to achieve. Just as we said here, you can re-strategize. You can talk to God, you can pray, you can do a lot of things. There are different things. You can get groups, support groups, people that can help you. At the end of the day, are you growing? That's the question.